from RTO here. Welcome to the Sophomore Drome. 2 albums go in, and 1 will only come out. And this is, I think we've got, after this one, we've got 2 more before Battle Royale 2 starts. But the good news is that Sophomore Drome will return in the spring. So today we're going to go all power metal. And we're going to take an American band and a band from Europe, and that is Dream Theater representing America, and Pagan's Mind that represent Norway. So as usual with this, the first album that come out goes first, and in this instance it is Dream Theater. Now they are American, one of the best American progressive metal bands, formed in '85 by John Petrucci and John Young and Mike Portnoy. Mike Portnoy is now back in the band, which is good news, and they are working on a new album as we speak. So their sophomore album was Images and Words, and this came out on the 7th of July 1992, and it was the first one to feature James LaBrie. So playing on here, we've got, of course, James LaBrie on lead vocals, John Petrucci on guitar and backing vocals, John Young on bass, Kevin Moore was the keyboard player at the time, and Mike Portnoy on the drums. So the first track on here is probably one of my favourite Dream Theater songs, and it's Pull Me Under. I think this has got some great drumming from Mike Portnoy at the beginning. It's a great track for James to open his account with the band. It is a classic song. I love this song. It's just brilliant. Okay, then we have Another Day. I think this is melodic as you can go. It's got a wonderful sort of drumming from Mike. John's guitar work is great on this, a fine vocal as well. That's wonderful solid bass line from John Young, absolutely killer track. Take the Time. I think James's vocals on this are terrific, outstanding. What a good singer he is. It was a great decision to bring him. Wonderful track. Surrounded. This is dominated by some wonderful work on the keyboards from Kevin. It's one of the more commercial songs that Dream Theater have done. I think it's done very well, and I like that. And then we have the brilliant Metropolis Part 1. Now Metropolis Part 2 comes on another album. This is The Miracle and the Sleeper. This is awesome. You knew this wasn't the end of this because the way they left it is quite open to other stuff, which they did, of course. Oh, it's brilliant. I like the guitar work from John Petrucci. Mike Portnoy, one of the best drummers on this planet at the moment. It's just got everything you want. A fine vocal, excellent track. Then we get Under a Glass Moon. Hard, punchy. That double bass drum from Mike shines through, some classic little riffs and keyboard runs in it. Very good. Wait for Sleep. It's not my favourite on here. It's a very short track. It sort of doesn't fit on the album for my books. Never has. And the last track on here, Learning to Live, another epic 11 minutes. But there is a little bit in the middle that it sort of loses itself. I think this is great live because you can that interplay, but on a studio track I think it just loses itself. It's a very good track, but I think it should be shorter on the album and let the 11-minute one go when they play it live. And that's the last track. Okay, there's a couple of tracks on here that are a little bit, as I said, that wait for the last 2. One could be shorter and the other one, it just doesn't fit. But I do like this album. I think it's my number 2 album by Dream Theater. So that's enough of what I think of it. What do the old critics think? Well, the album has received acclaim from music critics since its release. The German magazine Rock Hard elected Images and Words as Album of the Month and lauded Dream Theater using the old 1970s term supergroup, according to the reviewer. They set standards and still perfect them, although they hardly appear to do so, even considering the many influences in their music. And Phil Carter, of all music, was taken by the band members' impressive ability to respective instruments and James LeBrie's vocal range. He said that it's an excellent mix of progressive metal stylings with heartfelt vocals and thought-provoking lyrics. Metal Storm, they called it a historical album because it brought something totally new to the scene. And Martin Popoff praised it, the band's musicianship and the tricky arrangements, but not thrilled by the album. He felt it was a little bit too self-aware and calculated to be in the true spirit of progressive rock. Okay, so let's see what the review scores are. All Music did give it a 4.5 stars. Collector's Guide to Heavy Metal 8 out of 10. Metal Storm 9.6 out of 10. Rock Hard a 10 out of 10. And Select 2 out of 5. How did it do in the charts? But it got to the Billboard Top Heat Seekers number 2 and number 94 in the German album charts. Actually, in 1993, it got to number 61 on the Billboard Italian, 88, and Japanese, 232. So let's have a look at the nuts and bolts of Images and Words. Song quality. I do like the songs on here. They're dramatic. The playing's great. So I'm going to give that a 4 out of 5. Production, wonderfully produced. It's crystal clear. It's the drumming on this, you can really hear Mike Portnoy's drumming on it. So I'm going to give that a 4. Reception. Well, the critics liked it. I think the fans weren't getting used to it, but as time has gone on, this has become an absolute classic. So I'm going to give that a 4 as well. Cover design. Now, it's a funny mishmash. I think they got the wrong colours for Dream Theater and Images and Words. I don't know what. It's a bit of a mishmash. They've made some really stunning covers, and this isn't one of them. So I'm going to give that a 3 out of 5. So for Images and Words by Dream Theater gives us a grand total of 15 out of 20. So let's move on to the European contention, and this is another great, underrated progressive metal band from Skien in Norway, and they're called Pagan's Mind. They were founded in 2005, and it's the same lineup. They're still together today. So their sophomore album is called Celestial Entrance, and this came out in 2002. So this is the bit I don't know. I have been practicing this, but I never get it right. So on lead vocals is Niels K. Rue. On guitar and backing vocals is Hjorn Viggo Lofstad. On the bass, Steinar Cromo. Ronnie Tinger on keyboards, Stein Kristofferson on the drums. So the opening track is called Approaching. Now it's got that typical Scandinavian entrance. It's all grandeur, everything's thrown at it, the kitchen sink, the plugs, the lot. It's just in your face sort of dramatic entrance, which goes lovely into the track Through Iris's Eyes. A great song. This has got that great power chords that you get with power metal. The wonderful drumming here from Stein is wonderful. It's that rolly drum. Great vocals from Niels. It's a terrific track. One of my favourite tracks on the album. Then we get Entrance Stargate. Once again, the riffs on this are terrific. The guitar is great. It's just them little twiddly little bits, as I call it. Some great backing vocals on this, and the bass line is absolutely amazing on this track. Then we have Of Epic Questions, classic progressive metal. The keyboards, it's got that wonderful sound that you get with Scandinavian prog metal. It's different from anywhere in the world. It's just there's just something about it. Brilliant drips, singing, brilliant drumming, just an absolute killer track. Dimensions of Fire, solid. Great bass line on this one. I love Yorn's great vocal guitar work on this. Absolutely killer. Some lovely keyboard bits in here from Ronnie as well. And once again, Niels on the vocals, terrific. Then we have another great track, one of my favourites, Dreamscape Lucidity. It's just got everything of what you expect of a power metal track. Great power chords, great solos, great drumming. That double bass sound is wonderful. And then we get to another great track called The Seven Sacred Promises. This is just full of shreds and another fine vocal, absolute killer. And then we get my favourite track on here, and it's an epic, and it's split into two, and it's Back to the Magic of Childhood. Part one is Conception, and this is like the dramatic start. It builds and builds, different layers come in. It's epic, but it goes straight into Exploring Life, which is a 9-minute epic. The drumming on this is great. 1 minute it's hurtling along, and then it's gentle. Niels' vocals range is so good. The guitar work on here from Yorn is exceptional. It is a great track. That is my favourite track. Then we get to In the Brilliant White Light. This is a lovely little track, and it's Ronnie on the keyboards. They're delicate and they're gentle. Then we have Aegean Shores, which again is an absolute killer track. It's got such a great riff and solo to start with. Absolutely top draw stuff. And then the album ends with another great epic. It's mystique, it's fantasy, it's everything that this band are, and it's called The Prophecy of Pleiades or Pallades. The vocal on here from Niels is just terrific. It's telling a story of Nordic mythology. I just love this. You play it loud and you play it proud. I love this album. It's one of my favourites by Pagan's Mind. It's got everything that I like about this band. Truly magnificent. Now, there is not much written about this, but I did find one really good review, and it's from Metal Reviews, and it's reviewed by Crims. And this is quoting what he said. Wow, wow, and wow. Pagan's Mind caught me completely by surprise. I had read one negative view of this album, so I put this off for a while, but then started hearing from many people what a brilliant release it was. So I thought, what the hell, and decided to give it a shot. And after 2 weeks straight listening to this CD over and over, I can say it's brilliant. Pagan's Mind combines the best elements of the heavier side of Dream Theater, early Queensryche and Symphony X, and I totally agree. So not have they touched on each of these prog masters, but they do their unique sound. They say he said they're a little dirtier than Symphony X, but it's got the complicity of Dream Theater. So there's not many, there's not no other magazines, but Crims gave this a 96 out of 100. So let's have a look at the nuts and bolts of this one. So song quality, I think the songs are great on this album. They're mythology, you know, they look at Nordic mythology, they look at fantasy, and it's just epic after epic. So I'm going to give that a 4 out of 5. Production. Now, this is only their second album. The production is good, but it did get even better as time went on. There's a few little bits in here where sometimes it gets a little, the bass needs just to be notched up a little bit, which they did on the next few albums. So I'm going to give that a 3 out of 5. Reception. As much as Crims liked it, and I like it, and that fans do thereafter, the fans love it, it didn't get the commercial accolade it should have done. So I'm going to give that a 3 out of 5. Cover design. Now, Pagan's Mind's covers are all fantastic, and this is an absolute killer. I love this cover. My only criticism is that the name Celestial Entrance should be a bit bolder, but I love the picture, especially the figure in the middle with them white piercing eyes. The colours are all right. It's a fantastic cover, so I'm going to give that a 5 out of 5. So, for Celestial Entrance gives us a grand total of 15 out of 20. So, for the first time in Sophomore Drome, we have got a draw in points. So this is just down now to me and my preference. So having a listen to these two albums, and I just love listening to these albums. Both albums have got some great songs on there. Pull Me Under, it's just a killer. A Gene Shaw's from Pagan Mind is brilliant, and then you got the Back to the Magic of Childhood, which is just killer. Also on Images and Words, you've got Under a Glass Moon, Metropolis. There's just absolutely brilliant songs on both albums. So, which did basically come down to the sound. Now, as I've said, some of the production on the Pagan's Mind album is a little bit teeny, a little bit, it needed to get oomph, but the Dream Theater is oomph all the way through. Their debut album was the one where the production wasn't good and they had a different singer, but this, they came out and they sort of set their stall up, and this is how they went forward, just like Pagan's Mind. This was very difficult, but by a smidge, and I mean a smidge, I'm going to give this to Dream Theater. Okay, you know the drill now. 2 p.m. the poll goes up on the community and you can vote tonight. Now, if you've never heard these bands, I have put 4 tracks by each band in the playlist. Just go and have a listen to them, and on just your first thoughts, I'd love to see what you think of this album, because unless you're into this genre, you wouldn't know much about them. So let's see if we can get people going down rabbit holes, which is a thing that we're doing tonight on the live stream anyway. So yeah, this will be up there, and then we'll give you the result next week. Okay, we'll be back very shortly with another video, and this time it's pick and mix, and we're going through the camera's view this week, and we're going to have a look at Led Zeppelin's The Song Remains the Same. So join me for that very soon. Bye for now.